All right, this is video number 10, and this is just for violin players. And in this video, we're going to start learning how to use the music staff to read our notes. Because remember, I told you those little letters inside the quarter note head is going to go, they're going to go away soon. So we need to know how to identify our notes on the staff, not by the letter inside, okay? So back several videos ago, I told you I suggested that you start learning open D where it lives, right there, and open A, okay? Now, I'm just going to leave the open D there for right now. But the first thing I want to do is I want to point out a couple things. We have right here our treble clef. Remember, you always want to look for treble clef when you're looking at your music. You don't want to have an alto clef or a bass clef. The other thing we have here are two little sharp signs. They look like hashtags or tic-tac-toe signs. They're actually slightly different, but they're basically the same thing. The sharp sign is going to be used. Remember, we learned the notes on the D string. We learned D, E, F sharp. Your book chooses to put the sharp sign next to the note for a really long time. However, I had students that started using the sharp sign to identify which note was F sharp. So I like to learn something else first. What this is called right here, these two sharp signs, this is called a key signature. Now there are many, many, many different key signatures. Right now, you're only going to learn one. And the name of this key signature is D major. D major has two sharps in it. One of them stands for F sharp, which is a sharp you already learned in the previous video. The other one stands for C sharp, which is a sharp you're going to learn in a future video, okay? But here's what I want you to know about it. This right here is the key signature, okay? The key signature that we are going to be dealing with is called D. D as in dog, D major. And D major has two sharps in it. Those sharps are F sharp and C sharp. That's all you need to know about key signatures right now. It gets way more complicated, but for now, that's it. This is the key signature. The name is D major. D major has two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. That's all we got to do, okay? So the way that the staff works, we put the notes on lines or in spaces and occasionally above the staff and below the staff. So the very first note you learned was open D, and open D lives right below the staff, okay? Now, just like when we play on our instrument and we go add fingers and we go up and it gets higher, as we go up, the notes will get higher and they will go up higher in the alphabet, all right? Now, the musical alphabet is not a normal alphabet. It only goes to G. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, over and over and over again. There are 8 different notes that just repeat themselves at a higher pitch called octaves. Again, later on with that. We're going to focus on learning the staff right now. So the way that the staff works, it will alternate a note being on a line or a space. So this note does not have a line going through it. So the next note will have a line going through it. So that was a space. Here's a line. The next note will be on a space. The next note will be on a line. The next note will be on a space, a line, a space, and a line. Now I'm going to stop right there for 2 reasons. First of all, I'm pretty much out of room on my little dry erase board here, but also because these are the notes that you are going to be learning and dealing with, okay? Today, we're only going to go up this far. That's it. We're only going to go up that far. These are the notes you already know how to play. So remember what I said about how it goes up in the alphabet. So after D in the alphabet, we have D, A, B, C, D, E is next. What's after that? F, and remember F is special. It's not just plain old F, it's called F sharp. The next thing is G. Now in the musical alphabet, what happens after G? A happens after G. And guess what? Go back and look at number 3 in your book, And look at that, that's open A. You've been playing that note. You might have already had that memorized as being on the second space, okay? So the notes are on lines or spaces. The way I describe them, we number the lines and spaces from the bottom up. So if I would describe D, I would say D sits below the staff. I would say E sits on the first line. I'm going to say A is on the second space. G, which line? 1, 2, on the second line. F sharp, on a space. Which one? Space number 1. That's how we describe that. So G, second line, A, second space, D, below the staff, E, first line, F sharp, first space, okay? So when you see the music and it has the little G inside, don't get used to it because it's gonna go away. I need to know that G is on the second line. When I see a note that's on the second line, I put 3 fingers down on the D string, because that's how you play the note G, right? And you pluck on the D string. I see this note right here on the second line, 3 fingers down on the D string and pluck the D string, and now you're playing a G, okay? So what I want you to do now, before you view the next video, is to kind of review these notes. You can look back, you can look at your book on page 6 and 7, and it shows you all of these different notes. It doesn't have an A, but you're pretty good with A already. But you can look back on page 6 and 7 and see all these different notes. And then we can go through and actually start playing on page 6 and 7. But again, you want to start looking at where the notes live on the staff and start memorizing that. And you need to get really fast at it, because remember, there's no such thing as the right note at the wrong time. And if it takes you too long to recognize the note, it's not right, because you played it too late. So make sure that we can keep up with and be super fast at recognizing our notes.